Hello everyone, this is Axbeard coming to you with a building tips and tricks video. I've had a number of people request and suggest that I start making videos again. I admit I've been stuck in the live stream loop for quite a while. So the topmost requested video I've had so far is the explanation of what a lot of us builders refer to as Moria Math, or order of operations. So I've got a couple examples set up that we're going to try and recreate and show you how that order of operations works. So the first one we're going to try is this brew tank sunk into this wood and lattice work. There's a lot of overlapping going on there, and that's kind of where the Moria Math comes into play. Moria Math requiring the proper order of operations, which is really hard to quantify. So I'm just going to give you general tips and tricks here, because it's different every time. I could build this same piece 3 times and have to put it together in 3 different orders. So we'll see. It's all going to depend on what your surroundings are like and other factors like that. The second piece we'll do is this archway over here, multi-piece archway that's got some overlapping and some tight pieces in there. Same thing, lots of overlapping and lots of multi-snap points for your pieces to choose from. So let's start with this one. So you'll see, to get a brew tank in there to fit in there, we're going to need to go 1 tile or 3 squares wide. We don't have that many deep, but close enough we can sink into that wall a little bit. We're not going to have the same setup over here, but I'll try and get close. So we're going to start with the wood bases. You can use the full wood column for something like this, but because of the way pieces tend to overlap and go together and what blocks a piece from overlapping, we're going to actually put these things together piece by piece. Typically I suggest using as few pieces as possible for a build, but this is kind of the exception to that rule. So we're going to set these. Now I could just set this piece right here. The problem is, with micro snapping the way it's been lately in the game, I don't suggest that. I suggest making sure that you've got something to snap to make sure that everything is lining up the same. So we're going to temporarily place a railing here. Grab the other piece, and then you see that little micro snap that it did on me there. We want to make sure that's the same. So it's almost flush on the top of that railing. That would be off. And doing that this early in the build will throw the whole thing off. So we make sure we get that micro snap right. And now we can continue on building. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections high. We've got some crown pieces in there, things like that. So go with our first carved wood crown. We've got a couple of these. I'm just going to build until I run into a problem, and then I'll kind of explain what's going on and how to fix it. And then on the top, we're going to top it off with more carved crown. Now you see, first problem. See how uneven that is? Let's see if we can figure out where the problem is. It's really kind of hard to tell. But it looks like the problem is here. Those gaps look a little bit worse than they are over here. So that's how we're going to fix that. We know that these are the way we wanted them. Be nice if we could get that to snap. All right, so we're going to build one side first. I like to pull down even though it looks like just to get as tight a snap as possible. Sometimes it helps if you change your angle a little bit. Now, I'm not really going to care about those gaps too much because we're going to line them all up by using that railing again. So you see that's snapping not quite flush to there. All right. Now we can go. And as we place this piece over here, we're going to delete the piece on this side and make sure. Oh, that didn't work out great, did it? That's all right. We'll just do it one piece at a time, one layer at a time. All right. Delete that. It's a lot of back and forth, and I admit that it's tedious, but if you want it supported, if you don't want it to fall apart, you don't want it to cause problems further down the line, this is the best way to do it. And because of order of operations and there being no real rule, you may find yourself tearing this thing apart a few times. I may run into an area where it doesn't let me place something, and then I'll have to tear a bunch of pieces out to be able to get it to go together right. Okay, now we've got some more banisters in there. Oh, I realized a mistake that I made. Let's do that. Putting this railing in here is ensuring that these pieces stay up when that piece is missing. that piece now. Now we'll put our railings in, our banisters. Now our long banisters. So far, no issues with the overlapping, right? And now we want lattice work. Starting here. Ooh. So that's going to go in red. That's no good. So something here is blocking us from placing this. Some overlap. So my guess is it's that. And that did work. So now the problem is probably one of these. Another thing that might have resolved the issue would be deleting that. Now we'll try the lattice again. That does not resolve the issue. It's not even snapping anymore. So, oh, there's the snap. Okay. Let's see if we can put the wood column piece back. Nope, not going to let us do that either. There we go. Okay, so the answer is deleting those railings. Now, when I built the first piece, and I built this structure, and I got to this point, not only did I have to delete the railings, but I also had to delete one side of the column. So we'll see how much this gets us in here again. So that's an example of how there is no set rule to how this goes together, right? There's no rule that says lattice before columns or lattice before crowns. I mean, it could be different from build to build and from piece to piece even. So, okay. Now we want to put our railings back in there. Banisters, sorry. That works out good. That works out good. Alright, now you see we've got the railings on the side here, and we'll come up top here and take a look at this. The brew tank pops through the top of that floor, and that allows us to craft in the brew tank. If we put the floor at the top of this rail, we wouldn't be able to craft. Sometimes you can reach through the floor, but it's got to be really close to that floor to be able to do that. So first we got to put our railings in. If I put my brew tank in here now and then tried to put these railings on the side, that wouldn't work. One rule that is a constant, if you will, is that items from the Furnishings tab or the Crafting and Essentials tab do not sync into, or sorry, build pieces don't sync into items from the Crafting and Essentials or Furnishings tab. You have to place the building pieces first and then place the furnishing or the crafting and essential. These aren't such a big deal if they line up just right, because we already have the main structure, so to speak, built. Alright, and we'll get up higher to line up this floor piece. Timber floor in there. And you've got some micro snapping here that you can play with too, but again, it's not super important. All right, now we'll put our brew tank in there. I swear, scrolling through that build menu gets worse every time. All right, you're probably noticing some lag here. That's because there's a lot going on. Like, this brew tank doesn't know where it can exist and where it can't exist, so you're gonna have to just be patient. And you can see, you can kind of choose how you want it to snap in and out. Whatever looks good to you, right? It's your build. I don't like to have it showing through all that lattice work. So I kind of want to go right here, and I'm trying to, I'll point out later how I'm trying to line it up. It's really hard to get perfect. So just going to try my best here. No symmetry in Moria. That's the important thing to remember, so don't try to force it. Okay. So there you have it. Two matching pieces, right? For the most part. So what I was doing to line this up was I was trying to take the point of this fixture here and line it up with, to be centered on this, the center of this lattice, and follow that line all the way up. It's pretty close. The problem that throws that symmetry off is this bit of the banister post poking through here. There's more poking through on this side than there is on this side, but that's because of the weird overlapping of the double banister post. So not really a whole lot you can do about that. But there you have it. A little Moria Math for you there. We'll go over and show you this one. So this is a double archway. I like to use adamant build pieces for the skeleton of my build, and then I like to skin it in other materials. To show you what I mean there, we'll go to adamant, place the stout wall. So when you have a granite wall, a column will then snap to that granite wall right on the end. But on an adamant wall, it snaps to the corners. It won't snap in the middle, it just wants to jump to the corners. Like so. So, what I mean by skinning it, I can then take granite. Alright, there we go. So you can see here how it snaps about halfway on. And then kind of gives you this relief effect. And we can do the same thing with stone. Let me put another column on there to help illustrate this. So we can use lodge. We'll also skin over granite. See, again, about halfway. And then stone will do the same thing. And the stone columns will do the same thing too, or the wood columns. Wood columns are a little trickier. They tend to sink in more and they don't look as good in my opinion when you add them to the corners. Well, these wood columns don't, I guess I should point out. But the lodge columns, the bigger lodge columns, can look pretty good on there. This is the small one that kind of does the same thing as the wood columns. The timber bases look pretty good on there. The large timber bases can look pretty good on there. And the carved bases look pretty good on there too. So there's what I'm talking about. It's kind of necessary to point out so that I could show you why I use the adamant here. So you can see we started this build with adamant narrow stout wall, which is 1 block by 1 block square. All right, so we will start another build here. And we'll just tack it right onto here. So this adamant piece is going to snap to the existing adamant piece there. Okay. And then, actually, we won't do that because that's going to end up causing us problems. So snap that there, and then remove that one. Okay, so we're just going to start putting pieces down. Go to the coastal marble, go down to the columns, small column base. I like to rotate it so that I can get that design on the front. Snap like that, snap like that. We're right here in the column section, so we'll go to the column crown. Go. Now we've got some gold inlay in the center there between the columns. The narrow gilded wall number 3. And we want to snap that right in there between them. And then we want our archway. We put that there so that because everything is going to be snapped to that piece, which is a little bit off, as you can see, that'll throw the whole rest, the whole other half of this build off. So you need to make sure we get that right. That looks much better. And we don't want to put the next one on the front because then it's going to get in the way of, you know what, let's try it. Because that's what people are going to want to do. They want to place 2 of these, so they're going to place them both right away, right? Okay. Go down to the column, small column base. Small column crown. Narrow gilded wall, number 3. Oh, and we got red. So that's not going to let us place that there. So, now, honestly, when I placed this one here, I was surprised that it went in. Because normally that would be red for me. But again, order of operations is important, but never the same. Shouldn't say it's never the same. It isn't always the same. So, just delete that. Let's see if that'll let us put that narrow wall in there. I don't think it's going to, but we're going to try it. It does. Typically, I find that the trick is to put the column bases in first, then put the narrow wall in, and then put the column crowns on. But we'll take this as a gift. And snap back in there. And now for the support. This is probably pretty decent support, but if I was going to build another level on top of this, a second story, so to speak, I would want adamant to support that. So, adamant narrow stout wall. And that's going in red, which is absolutely what I expected. And now it goes in there good. And there we go. 2 matching pieces. So that's the best examples I can give of Moria Math, really. I had a little less trouble on this one than I was expecting to have with it. But I think we saw some good examples over here. The point is, don't give up just because something goes in red, especially when you're overlapping pieces. But anytime I mean, it could be as simple as doing this and this, and then trying to get this wall to go in here. Sometimes it'll be red, sometimes it won't. The answer is delete that, and then just change the order that you're putting them in there. So that's Moria Math. If you got any questions, shoot me a message in the comments, or find me on my Discord server. The link for that will be in the description of the video. And we talk about building stuff over there quite a bit. So I'm also on the Return to Moria official Discord server. And you can ask questions there too. All right, till next time.